Let's see what's under the hood of today's guest.
I would say the most important trait is empathy. Maybe someone is very good at public speaking, or maybe someone is very good at building developer tools or writing technical content. But if you don't have empathy, this is not the right role for you, I believe.
Welcome to Under the Hood of Developer Marketing, the podcast devoted to developer marketing, relations, evangelism, and advocacy. I'm Stathis Georgakopoulos, and I'm your host. In each episode, I welcome a guest from the developer marketing world. We talk about best practices, challenges, lessons learned, and share insights, data, and experiences to help you boost your DevRel game, talk to, and engage with developers. This podcast is brought to you by /Data, the leading analyst of the developer economy, and DevRelX.com, a hub devoted to providing resources for developer marketing professionals, including developer ecosystem trends, news and job openings, webinars, a book, and a bi-weekly digest you can subscribe to. Access them all at DevRelX.com. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Under the Hood of Developer Marketing Season 3. If you have been listening to our episodes, you know we live and breathe data. And of course, enjoy sharing it with the world. If you like data and insights as well, good news. The 20th edition of State of the Developer Nation is now available. What do 19,000 developers from 155 countries have to say about how COVID affected them, their language preferences, machine learning, how they affect buying decisions? You can go to /data.co and you'll find the answers under free resources. Now, let's welcome our guest, Anna Tsolakou, who is a developer advocate at Amadeus. Anna, welcome to the show.
Hi, Stathis. Thank you very much for having me today.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
As a child, I wanted to be a martial arts teacher. Actually, since I was very young, I was doing martial arts. I was doing karate for many years. Then I did hapkido. I've tried also a bit of boxing, kickboxing. And I used to admire a lot my teachers. So since I was a child, I actually wanted to be one of them. So yeah, this is the one of the things actually, because as children, I think we have a lot of ideas and different things that we want to be when we grow up.
Yeah, a lot of ideas, some of them crazy.
Yes.
Surprisingly,
exactly.
No one wanted to become a developer relations or developer advocate when they were a kid. I don't know why this is the case. Maybe future kids will do.
Yeah, maybe future kids, yes.
Martial arts, it's a wow for me. Did the Karate Kid movie have anything to do with it?
Maybe, because there are some like scenes and things that even unconsciously stayed in my mind, like inside me. So maybe it could have affected me. Yeah, but I was very young when I watched the first movie. So yeah.
Yeah, but martial arts is super cool. So won't you tell us a bit more about yourself? How did you end up from martial arts, let's say, to your current role at Amadeus? What has been your journey?
So I studied informatics and computer science at the university. And at the same time, I was still practicing martial arts, to be honest. And in 2015, I found a job in a startup in Spain. So back then I was living in Greece, and in 2015 I moved to Spain for this small startup for a developer relations position. For me, it was one of the best decisions that I made in my life. And to be completely honest with you, back then I didn't know anything about developer advocacy, developer relations. It was the first time that I heard about this type of role. So I worked for a couple of years in this company. Then I moved also to different types of companies. I was involved in different roles as well. And now here I am at Amadeus for Developers, working as developer advocate.
Yes, it seems like it's been a great journey, and sounds like you're doing something you like. And
yes,
we will be talking about this in a bit. First, what will be the first thing you want to do when it's safe to go back to life as we knew it?
So on a personal level, the first thing I want to do is to go back to Greece, because it's been a very long time since the last time I went, and I want to see my family and friends there. And on a professional level, I can't wait to go back to physical events. And I do appreciate the fact that we do have events in an online format, but I miss a lot physical events like going to hackathons and conferences and meet the people there face to face. Because it's a very different experience and it's much more fun. So I think this is the first thing that I want to do when it's safe to go back to life the way we knew it.
Yeah, everyone misses events. I think it's come up. I think maybe it's the only answer I've got to this question. So far from the people I've interviewed, and yeah, travel is a safe number two, definitely, no doubt there.
And the communication and engagement with the people that you meet there is much stronger than the online event. So it's something I miss a lot.
It is. It definitely is. Let's hope we'll be at events pretty soon. Now, let's talk data. Can you please pick a graph from devrelx.com/trends and tell us what stands out to you? Why is this graph important to you?
Yes. So there is one graph that actually I found a couple of months ago, the graph that describes the most important features that companies should offer to support developers. That mentions documentation, tutorials, community, etc. And for me, this is the graph I like the most. And also I was very excited when I found it. I immediately shared it with my colleagues. Because I believe that this graph shows, at least for our team, that what we do right now and what we have been doing the past years in my team aligns a lot with the developer interest. And it also helps us to know in what type of areas we should keep focusing. So I think this is the most important graph, and we do a lot of things about the documentation, developer tools, tutorials and guides, and it's really exciting to see that actually all these things that we are doing are at the top as the most important features that are described. And also I want to thank you very much for all the interesting insights that you provide, because they're very, very useful for us.
Thank you for sharing that. And, from our part, we also like to thank our developer community who takes the time, to do our survey twice a year, those 19,000 developers. What we do is we try to help developers understand the world and the world understand developers. So whenever we can offer this kind of data, to make your lives easier and also the developers, it's a good day for us.
Yes, we really appreciate it.
I guess this can either be or not be an easy question. So what is developer advocacy?
This is an easy question, but might have a lot of answers. So I'm going to say my point of view and what is for us actually a developer advocacy. So there are a lot of names and roles out there, such as developer advocates, technical writers, developer evangelists, and many more. And in my opinion, they're all very relevant to developer relations and developer advocacy, because what all of these roles are doing, what is the developer advocate, let's say, is doing, is building a bridge between the technology that the company offers and the users. And the mission of developer advocacy is to help developers succeed. And there is a lot of diversity behind that. So people who work as developer advocates, they might do public speaking, they write technical content, they build DIM applications, developer tools, etc. So what the developer advocate is doing externally is representing the technology by building all this developer content, supporting developers, engaging with them. And what internally a developer advocate is doing is raising the voice of the developers inside the company in order to take all the feedback and build actually a good product for the developers. So I would say that developer advocacy is like a bridge between one technology that the company provides and the developer community out there. And the mission is to help developers be successful.
Yeah, that's always a mission.
Yes.
I want to just say how much I agree and how I like the way you put it, in terms of the bridge, linking those two different, let's say, islands together. And I want to mention two things from our past episodes. The one is a recent one we had with Jeff Shanquist from Microsoft, who said that we do tend to spend much time trying to define what developer relations is instead of actually helping developers, which is one thing, because you said how interchangeably the titles are used to define a role, which brings me to point number 2, which was our first ever episode with Mary Thengval, where she said that to developers, I represent the company, and to the company, I represent the developers. So it's, again, matches what you just mentioned, which is building this bridge between the two to actually help both.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
So you've been in your developer advocate role since 2015, right?
My first developer advocate role was, yes, back in 2015. Afterwards, I also worked in different things. For example, in my last company, I was working as a full stack developer. But after all the experiences I got and the journey I went through all these years, I went back to developer relations because I think that's the most fulfilling for me and what fits me the best.
Yeah, it looks like being a developer advocate won your heart. So what do you love most about being a developer advocate?
There are a lot of things that I love about being a developer advocate, but I think what I love the most and what keeps me motivated is the fact that a developer advocate wears different hats. That means that as developer advocates, we're involved in many different tasks, and also we have to adapt quickly to any changes. For example, today I worked on building one of our SDKs. Then I wrote a blog article. Tomorrow, maybe I'm going to work with a demo application. And I really love this diversity that developer advocacy provides. So I think this is what I love the most about being a developer advocate.
Is it only the different, subtasks, or that they also, have all these different ways to actually help developers?
For me, I see it not as tasks, but exactly as different ways to help developers, because you explore a lot of new different things. And also as developer advocate, you have the chance to try new things and come up with new ideas of how to help developers.
And this is the good part. Now, how about the air quotes here, difficult part? So what has been your biggest challenge in developer advocacy?
For me, I would say the biggest challenge that I faced is that as a developer advocate, you need to know the product from many different aspects and different angles. For example, you need to know for example, in our case, we provide, at Amadeus for developers, we provide APIs related to travel. So I need to know very well the APIs from the technical point of view, the functional point of view. I need to know the features, business aspects, constraints, limitations we might have, and also have a very good understanding of the travel industry. And our work as developer advocates is also very transversal. So I work very closely with people from marketing, people from strategy, people from product. So I think it's very challenging because you constantly have to learn a lot of things. First of all, about the product itself from different perspectives, and also of how you can communicate and collaborate properly with colleagues who work in different fields, let's say. So I think this is the most one of the biggest challenges. For me, maybe it was one big challenge. But on the other hand, this challenge is what really keeps me motivated because I constantly learn new things and I develop more skills.
Now, you raised a point there, which brings me, to one of my kind of favorite questions. There is being ongoing discussions of where developer advocates should sit inside the company. You mentioned product, you mentioned marketing too. Do you think that developer advocates are kind of a hybrid role, touching upon all these different departments? Or should it sit in a specific one? Or if you don't have an immediate answer, at least to that, where does it sit in Amadeus?
Okay, I believe that for each company and each product, it can be different. So that's why I think it's not only one answer for what works better. But for instance, at Amadeus for developers, apart from my developer relations colleagues, I also belong in the same team with people who work in product, marketing, strategy, and portal. So we are all one team. We all work together, and this makes us extremely efficient, and we work very good. For example, whenever we have one specific feedback that is related to portal, the product manager of the portal is actually in our team. So it's very easy to pass smoothly the feedback coming from them. So this is how at Amadeus our team is organized.
Yeah, and I think this kind of hybrid teams work also make developer advocates role much easier because you're in direct contact with several different departments to address different needs too.
Exactly, yes. At least for us, this works very well. It makes us more agile, more efficient, and at the end, I think we are all, let's say, in the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely great. Mm-hmm. You mentioned always learning a couple of times now. So what do you think is the most important trait or a characteristic someone in developer advocacy should have?
I would say the most important trait is empathy. Maybe someone is very good at public speaking, or maybe someone is very good at building developer tools or writing technical content. But if you don't have empathy, this is not the right role for you, I believe. Because at the end of the day, our role is to understand developers and to get in their shoes. That's why I think empathy is the most important one, and also something that cannot be taught easily, because you can teach someone how to be a good public speaker, for example, or how to code. But maybe having empathy is something that is not so easy, or something that takes more time and effort to learn.
Yeah, it does. And it definitely, you can see it in different people, whether they're born with a high empathy, or they're trying to work on it. So yes, since as you said it before, the main role here is to help developers solve the problems. You need to be able to see the problems from their perspective.
Exactly, and it's not easy. I believe I'm a person with empathy, but sometimes maybe I feel I don't have as much patience as I should. So I'm working with myself. I'm working on it, but I think this is something very, very important to, when someone has a problem, to really understand the problem and to accept that there is a problem and that you want to help them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we said before, in a part of a joke that no kids want to be developer advocates, mainly because developer advocacy and relations are quite new terms and quite new jobs for one to have. So we see more people trying to get into developer relations. So what kind of advice would you give to someone who is new to that role, who's just starting?
You refer to someone who is already working in a company, or maybe someone who wants to be a developer advocate and explores this world?
Could be both. This could be from a perspective, because we see several, for example, people coming from software developers and becoming advocates afterwards. Or we've seen people in developer relations come, for example, from a marketing background. Mm-hmm. So for someone who is just undertaking this role.
Okay. So I think, first of all, it's very important to never stop learning and see also what is happening on the outside world. So there are so many great developer advocates out there, and I think there is so much knowledge that we can take from them. And also there are top companies that they have really good practices in developer relations. So I believe someone who is new to the role, but also someone who is not, I think it's something we all should do. But especially for someone who starts, I think it's very important to get inspiration and learn things. And that not only helps you become a better professional, but on the other hand, you can bring a lot of valuable knowledge in your team. So this is one thing that I believe is important. And another thing that I find useful is to not be afraid to try new things and raise your opinion. For example, if you work in a company that maybe they publish a lot of articles, and you see that, okay, we can also publish some video tutorials, let's say, and you want to try some new types of content, if your company is giving you flexibility and space to do this, just go for it and try, because even if the result is not the best, that's the only way that you are going to learn, by trying things. I also think it's important to give back to the community as much as you can. So make open source projects, write blog articles. If you read something that is interesting, like about a new technology, make sure that you share it with the developer community, because this is in the end something that brings a lot of value to the developers who use your product, or even, let's say, people who are interested in your technology. So I think it's very important to give back to the community. Another thing, so I think someone who works in developer advocacy at some point is going to do public speaking. Maybe some developer advocates might do less public speaking, some other developer advocates might do more. But regardless, I think it's very important, first of all, to do a public speaking course. And apart from that, to practice a lot. So every time that you have the opportunity to go to a small meetup or internal in your company to do a presentation, I think it's a great opportunity to help with public speaking. I think practicing and being open to get feedback from the people that are with you is very important. So I think someone who is new in developer advocacy should focus a lot on improving public speaking, because even less or more is going to get up on the stage. Yeah. So this is advice that I would give to someone who is new in developer advocate role.
So, wow, these are all super helpful. And just to summarize, your top tips are: always learn, stay curious, experiment, give back to the community, and try public speaking as much as you can.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
These are all, for me, it's 5 tips, 5 stars, words to work by if you're new to developer advocacy. So thank you very much for this.
Yes. I could give many more tips, but it would be a long list. And something that I would also like to mention now is that maybe some of these things seem kind of easy to do or obvious, but when you're busy and you have a lot of work to do, it's not that trivial. For example, if you want to learn new things and make sure that maybe you read several articles or you see what other top companies are doing, make sure that you block some time during the week, because if you're very busy, you will forget doing that. And I think we need to be consistent. And from my personal experience, I've seen that it's if you commit to that and you try to learn new things, it can help you a lot as a professional, and also to grow and help your company.
That's perfect. Blocking time for personal development is one sure way that you'll find the time, because it's true. When you're too busy, you might say, okay, I'll read this later, and
you never do it.
Keeps piling up, thousands of tabs on your browser, and you end up just closing them at some point and miss the whole part, which could be very useful.
Yes, I think all of us have been through this.
That's true. Yes. Earlier, we mentioned events, as something we miss. And one of the key facts that we miss about these events is that you get the chance, to get direct one-to-one engagements with people, see them up close and talk to them. Now, how can you connect and engage with developers with, let's say, events out of the equation?
We connect and engage with developers through different types of events and different channels. For example, one of the things that we do is we We go to hackathons, and we even organize our own hackathons. Hackathons for us are great events because actually we get in touch with hundreds of developers who are going, first of all, to find out about our technology and also build something cool using our APIs. And also it's a great way to gain feedback because in a hackathon, there are different types of profiles like junior developers, data scientists, and even designers who are going to work for a project in this hackathon. So you gain a lot of invaluable feedback from hackathons. And also something that is very interesting is that there is innovation coming out from hackathons because you see really cool solutions from the attendees, and this is something that we believe is very interesting. Apart from hackathons, we also do go to different conferences and meetups. In this type of events, again, we get in contact with many people. We do networking, we gain feedback, we learn a lot of things. And also something that we love to do is to, whenever we have the chance to give a talk, is to share our knowledge. We're a very transparent team as developer relations team, and we're always very happy and excited to share the knowledge that we have gained through all these years. And also something that is newer to us. So we have been in contact with developers in many different places. So apart from the events that I mentioned, we talk with developers on email, Stack Overflow, GitHub, social media. And we realized that we didn't have one single place for all of the users who wanted to chat with us and be in contact with us. That's why about a year ago, we built an online developer community to act as a single place for all our users. So what we do there is we provide support, networking, activities in order to make it more animating. And we try to build strong relationships. For us, it's a good way to be close to our community, to know how they feel with our API, what is happening, and to help them as much as we can. And this is an open community. It's not only for actually developers that actually use our API, but for anyone who is interested to know more about Amadeus for developers, this channel is open for anyone to join. So these are the main things I would say that we do in order to connect and engage with the developers.
From what I understand, events are an integral part of the way to connect with developers. So this past year, the main channel, let's say, that you use to talk to developers is your portal, right?
So in our portal, developers can get in touch with us through, let's say, the email that we have, but we're also open. We also have this online community on Discord, and we're very active on GitHub, Stack Overflow, and social media. We know developers live in many different online places. That's why we also want to be active and responsive wherever they want to get in touch. So we want to make it easy for them to get in touch with us. For example, we check Stack Overflow on a daily basis because we ourselves suggest them, if you have a technical issue, feel free to either send an email to us or post it on Stack Overflow. So we make sure that on a daily basis, for example, we check Stack Overflow, or we have a lot of open source projects. So we also check GitHub for any issues or contributions that we might receive, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. So do you need an advocacy team if you have an API, and why?
Yes. I like this question.
Short answer. Yeah.
This is a short answer, but yes, there is also a longer one that I'm going to share now. So actually, a few weeks ago, I checked on Programmable Web, and I saw that there listed more than 24,000 public APIs. And actually, this shows that there are thousands of APIs out there. And there is a lot of competition. If you think, for example, of map-related APIs, on top of your head, for sure you're going to have 2, 3, 4 different providers. And this is a very competitive environment. Providing a quality API is important, but I think it's the minimum that we can offer to our users. Developers nowadays have many more expectations, especially in this competitive environment. They have expectations such as developer tools, tutorials and guides, and even a developer community around the products that they use. So we believe that only providing a quality API is not enough. We believe that actually the developer relations team is the team that can work and focus a lot on all the developer expectations and all the developer needs in order, first of all, to help our company be successful. And our main goal also that I mentioned earlier is to help developers, because just providing a good quality API is not enough. If you want them to get started easily, if you want them to be efficient, and if also you want to help them be successful. So that's the answer why actually we need a developer advocacy team.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Offering a solid product is the word I'm going to use. I'm going to use solid, which means that this is something that you can really trust and offer a quality product for others to use. But is that enough? And I'll explain what my question is. We've seen quality products where developers might have a really bad experience when they try, engaging with them and using it. So developers' experience, I think it's key, especially, when it comes to whether developers will adopt or reject a solution. So how can you improve developers' experience with whether it's an API, your product, or the service you're offering?
So there are a lot of things that we do as developer relations team in order to improve actually the developer experience. So one of the things that we do is we offer SDKs. So SDKs are developer libraries that we build in different technologies that provide documentation and the right tools to help actually our users integrate our APIs in their applications. It's something that actually we have been doing from the beginning of our API program, because we want to reduce the technical complexity that developers have. So developers who use our SDKs can access very easily and quickly our APIs in their own programming language. We also offer a very easy authorization process. A lot of times we've received support questions with people who were struggling with the authorization process, but the moment they started using our SDK, this was extremely simple, because developers don't need to focus on the low-level implementation details that they have to go through if they don't use the SDK. We also offer error handling, because we know that debugging can be really time-consuming. And we also offer code examples. So for every SDK that we have developed in different programming languages, we also have code examples from the simplest API call to the most complex one, where developers can just copy and paste this code in their application. And also our SDKs are open source and they can be found on GitHub. Another thing that we do about developer experience is we focus a lot on documentation and developer content. So first of all, we always try to have a very clear and consistent documentation. And this can be challenging. So especially in big companies that the APIs come from different development teams, it's very probable that there might be some inconsistencies. For example, the way a parameter is described, let's say. Or maybe someone who is who knows a lot about the travel industry doesn't explain something very good, but maybe a developer who is new in travel maybe doesn't have all this information. So it's very important to have a clear and consistent documentation across all our APIs. But this is not enough. We know our users have a wide variety of experience and also industry knowledge that I mentioned earlier. That's why for us, we think it's very valuable to provide different tutorials and guides. So technical tutorials, functional tutorials. We write articles about travel industry. And even for more complex cases, we also make some videos to show them some processes step by step. Another thing that we also do to improve developer experience is we build demo applications. One of the main reasons that we do this is we want to inspire our users because especially when it comes to startups, maybe they have some ideas, but maybe with more inspiration, we can help them build something that can bring more value for them. So we build demo applications to show them what type of things they can build using our technology. And we build these demo applications in different technologies. Sometimes, for example, we use Python Django. Some other time we use Node. Some other times we use mobile technologies, etc. And what is very interesting for us is that all the demo applications we build are open source. So developers can actually take these applications that we have built and build actually their own solutions on top of them. And we believe this is interesting because it reduces a lot the onboarding process because the developers have like somewhere to start. And also this is super nice to make them understand better what you offer, because instead of showing a long list of, let's say, a long API catalog of APIs that you offer, it's much more interactive to just show them some demo apps that we've built with our technology. And lastly, as developer advocates, we're very involved in customer support because we have knowledge for the industry and the API. And this is not usually the nature of the requests that we receive from customer support. So we're heavily involved in customer support. We check the cases that we receive on emails. As I said before, we are active on Stack Overflow, on GitHub, etc. So these are the main things and the main areas that we focus in order to improve developer experience.
I think the best part about everything you just mentioned is how the data agree with you, which is the graph we discussed earlier about,
Yes.
from DevrelX. And it seems like you're addressing exactly what developers are asking for. So this is great.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was super excited when I found this graph. I was like, okay, this shows that we follow the right path. Yeah.
I think this is a validation for both parties here.
Yeah.
These are all great what you just mentioned, and I think these can be really helpful, both on the onboarding, on problem solving, and also, with the demo apps, it can also offer, many different ideas, other things you can do.
Yes, and something that I would like to mention on that is that through all for the demo applications that we build, we really see how developers feel. So because exactly it's the moment that we get in their shoes and we try to build something from scratch. So because maybe sometimes they tell us they struggle with something, but maybe we don't realize until we face it ourselves. So also these demo applications that we build lets us understand much better the product that we offer and how we can improve it.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Hands-on is the best way to learn.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's always the best way.
Yes.
And, it touches upon so many things that we have discussed,
Yes.
And I think hands-on is one way to help you build empathy if it's not so natural, in you.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Yes. Because at that moment you really feel how they feel.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
You mentioned it before, and we had discussed it, earlier prior to the interview. Is how important is having a smooth feedback process? How important is this for, creating an even better experience?
Feedback is very important because I think it's the way to keep us fully aligned with what our users want. And through a smooth feedback process, we make sure that the product roadmap that we define can be attractive for them. And for example, when we released our SDKs, the SDKs that we offered until recently were more focused on web technology. So we had SDKs on Java, Python, Node, Ruby. Maybe I'm forgetting something right now, but we didn't have SDKs for mobile technologies. And our users were asking a lot about it, like in hackathons, in emails, they were asking us that they want to have SDKs for mobile. So if we didn't have this feedback, first of all, maybe we wouldn't even realize ourselves, because personally, as developer, I mostly work with Python and Java. So maybe I wouldn't think that, okay, let's make a mobile SDK. So it was really important to make sure that we hear the feedback of our users, and we saw something coming so many times from them. That's why we also passed it internally and we prioritized. And the results are good, because then you see that the developers start using what you offer to them. They make contributions whenever they have a new idea of things that they want to improve. They're going to raise it to us, etc. That's why a smooth feedback process can be very, very interesting, because at the end of the day, you want to provide to your users something that is interesting for them, not interesting for us, something that they're going to use and that they're going to like.
And it definitely helps when you submit something and you're being heard. Helps a lot, engaging and committing to what you've already been working on.
Yes. And also regarding that, we do track feedback of everything that is coming from the users. And something from our experience is very interesting is every time we implement something, okay, if it's something that affects all our users, we can write a blog article about that. But if it's something that maybe one user asked, for example, and we implement it, I think it's very engaging to get back to this user and say, hi, thanks for your feedback. We just implemented this. Have a look at it, because this shows that you really care for the voice of the users.
Yeah, true. 100% agree there.
Yeah, and it's not so hard to do it. It's pretty easy. So yeah, it's just to send an email or...
Exactly. Yeah, it's really easy to implement, and it all has to do, I think, with business strategy. Then onwards, where do you want to go? Do you want to offer exactly what developers are asking, or do you want to go your own way?
Exactly. Yes.
And although it might seem obvious, not everyone does it, but yeah, still.
Exactly.
Anna, it's been great having you today, and I'm really thankful that we got in touch, following the Future Developer Summit, and we arranged this interview together. I think you offered some great insights and tips on the life of and the work of a developer advocate. If someone from our listeners wants to hear more from you, how can they reach you?
First of all, thank you, Stathi, for today, and I really enjoyed our discussion. Now, if someone wants to reach out to me, they can get in touch with me on Twitter or LinkedIn just by using my name. I think it's pretty easy to find me.
Okay, the name will be on the title yes. of the episode, so you should be able to find. And to close on a positive note, what's one good thing that happened in 2020?
One good thing for me that happened this year is, although I miss a lot going to the office and seeing my colleagues and work from there, on the other hand, now that I'm working from home since last year, I have the chance to spend time at home with my dog, because in the past I was always feeling bad that he was alone at home the whole day, waiting for me to come back and letting him alone. But now we are every day together, and I'm not so worried about him. So this is one good thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's super happy, and like the best case scenario for him.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure he wants this to stay forever.
Yeah, that's definitely one good thing. It's
yes,
it makes me super happy to hear this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you,
and Thank you for our listeners for listening to Under the Hood of Developer Marketing, the podcast devoted to developer marketing and relations. You can listen to all episodes, find free resources, including our latest State of the Developer Nation report, which is free under /data.co and free resources, and also the latest news at deverlex.com. And you can also subscribe to our bite-sized bi-weekly digest or follow us on Twitter at /datahq. Thank you very much.